بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إلى طلبة المرحلة الثانية موديول Psychology. The second lecture is the personality. Personality it means enduring pattern of behaviors, thoughts, motive and emotion that typifies how one reacts to people and situation. Personality, the psychoanalytic perspective, the humanistic perspective, the trait perspective, and social cognitive perspective. Psychodynamic perspective. Freud's clinical experience led him to develop the first comprehensive theory of personality, which include the unconscious mind, psychosexual stage, defense mechanism. Exploring the unconscious mind, a reservoir unconscious mind of mostly unacceptable thought, wish, feeling, and memories. Freud asked patients to say whatever came to their minds. Free association, first free association, in order to tap the unconscious. Second, dream analysis. Dream analysis, another method to analyze the unconscious mind, is through interpreting manifested and latent content of dreams. Psychoanalysis, the process of a free association chain of thoughts lead to painful, embarrassing, unconscious memories. Once these memories are retrieved and released, treatment psychoanalysis, the patient feels better. The mind is like the iceberg. It is mostly hidden, and below the surface lies the unconscious mind. The preconscious store temporary memories. Freud's model of personality structure. The structure of the personality, it is the id and ego and superego. The id and ego and superego, the id unconsciously strives to satisfy basic sexual and aggressive drives operating on pleasure principle, demanding immediate gratification. The ego function as the executive and mediated the demand of it and superego. The superego provides standardized for the judgment, the conscience, and for the future aspiration. Personality development. Freud believed that the personality formed during the first few years of life divided into the psychosexual stage. During this stage, the its pleasure-seeking energy focus on pleasure-sensitive body area called erogenous zones. Psychosexual stage. Freud divided the development of personality into the 5 psychosexual stage. Freud's psychosexual stage, the stage is the oral stage, anal stage, phallic stage, latency, and genital stage. The oral stage focuses on the pleasure center on mouth, sucking, biting, chewing. The anal stage, pleasure focusing on bowel and bladder elimination, coping with demand for control. Phallic stage, pleasure zone, is the genitals, coping with insatiate sexual feeling. Latency is dormant sexual feeling, genital maturation of sexual interest. And the age of the stage, the oral, from the 1 days to the 2 years. The anal stage from the 2 years to the 4 years. The phallic stage from the 4 years to the 6 years. Latency from 6 years to the puberty and genital puberty and on. Psychosexual stage, fixation and adult personality. If fixation psychosexual stage in oral, the patient becomes smoking, dependency and aggression. If fixation on anal, the patient obsessive and tightness and meanness and untidiness and generosity. Bilpharic stage, the patient anxiety and obsessive and inadequacy and inferiority and envy. Defense mechanism, the ego's protective method of reducing anxiety by unconsciously distorting reality. The Neo-Freudian and psychodynamic theorists, Carl Jung, Karen Horney, Alfred Adler. Carl Jung, Neo-Freudian unconscious consists of personal unconscious, collective unconscious based on our species' universal experience. Example, methods, maternal image, and fear of dark. Karen Horney, Wimp, Envy, personality based on needed for security, relationship with parent influence personality. Alfred Adler, ego psychologist, downplayed the unconscious. Childhood is formative period. Inferiority complex, the people are motivated by the fear of failure, inferiority, and desire to achieve superiority. And birth order. Assessing unconscious process, projective test, relieve the hidden unconscious mind. Thematic apperception test, TAT test, developed by Henry Murray. The TAT test is a projective test in which the pupil express their inner feeling and interest through the stories they make up about ambiguous sense. Rorschach ink blot test, the most widely used projective test, the Hermann Rorschach 10 ink blots. Evaluation, the psychoanalytic perspective, modern research, first personality developed throughout the life and is not fixed in childhood. Freud underemphasized peer influence on the individual. Gender identity may develop before 5 to 6 years of age. The humanistic perspective, the first stage of the humanistic perspective is the physiological stage. The second, safety, and the third is love and belong, and the fourth is esteem, and the fifth is the self-actualization. The characteristic or the needed in physiological stage is the breathing, food, water, sex, sleep, hemostasis, and excretion. The safety needs security of the body, security with job, security in morality and family, health and property. But love and belong, the friendship, the family, sexual intimacy, esteem, self-esteem, confidence, achievement, respect of other, respect by other, the self-actualization, morality, creativity, spontaneity, problem solving, lack of prejudice, and acceptance of fact. Assessing humanist perspective, assessing personality through the questionnaire on which the pupil report their self-concept, and in the therapy by seeking to understand others. The trait perspective, introverted and extroverted, stable and unstable, and characteristic of introverted, passive, careful, thoughtful, peaceful, control, reliable, even, temperate, calm. Extroverted, sociable, outgoing, talkative, responsive, and easygoing, and lively, and carefree, and leadership. Stable. Unstable, moody, anxious, rigid, super, pessimistic, reserved, unsociable, quitty, cute. Unstable means extroverted, touchy, restlessness, aggressive, excitable, changeable, impulsive, optimistic, active. The trait perspective, the big five personality factor is the emotional factor, extraversion factor, openness factor, agreeableness factor, and consciousness factor. Assessing trait personality inventory like the Minnesota Personality Inventory Type 2 questionnaire. Social cognitive perspective depend on the personal, depend on environmental and behavior. Cycle between the personal, environmental and behavior. The environmental effect on behavior, the behavior effect on personal, the personal effect on environmental, and cycle. By the Albert Bandura.